This is Kathy with Duality Unfolding. I have a good things are coming reading for you. So this reading is just going to be looking at what good things are coming for you in the areas of love, money, and purpose. So I have got 3 different groups for you to choose from. The first group, the tarot that I'm using, is the Light Seers Tarot. The second group, the tarot that I'm using, is the Vox Arcana Tarot. And then the third group, the tarot that I'm using, is the Happy Tarot. So I have crystals for each group as well as a choosing card. So group number 1, the crystal is a sodalite with some fun orange stuff in there. I don't know what it is. And then the choosing card is, oh, that cow. And the message is give the unconditional love and give with unconditional love and grace. And it's associated with Archangels Raphael and Mary. Group number 2, your crystal is this flower agate point. So it's got all these little things in it that look like flowers. And the choosing card is the snake. The message is live according to your divine essence. And the celestial angelic group that it's associated with is the elemental kingdom. So like the elements, earth, air, fire, water, metal, wood. I'm sure there's others that I can't think of. Group number 3, your crystal is this amethyst. It's kind of a banded amethyst. And your choosing card is the bat. See through illusion into truth. And it is associated with Archangel Dorenka. So this reading is just to take a look at what good things are coming for you guys in the areas specifically of love, money, and purpose. So I hope that you'll enjoy it and that it brings you just some good feelings, some positivity. I feel like things, I don't know, maybe just me. I feel like things have been heavy for a couple weeks. And yeah, I just wanted to offer you guys something positive and just comforting and just something good to look forward to that, God's Source Spirit wants to give us messages around. So as always, take as much time as you need to choose which group you'd like to watch. You are always welcome to watch every single group, and I will see you in the readings. Hello, group number 1. So if you chose this little sodalite crystal and the Archangel Raphael and Mary card with the cows on it, how cute are these two? Look, they're like BFF cows. I love them. This is your reading. So yeah, we'll just get into it. What good things are coming for you? Let me see. I've got 2 kind of oracle cards that are encouraging messages from God's Source Spirit, but let's look at your love messages. Okay, so we have the King of Pentacles and closure. So the King of Pentacles is someone that is, like the picture shows, someone that's a little bit more established, a little bit more mature, someone that's kind of focused on the tangible things in life. This could be money, property, their work, a little bit more of a pragmatic person. This closure message to me expresses that you're kind of coming to the end of a cycle with an older male in your life. So this might be a family member, and like this might be something that this might be something that you guys, it might be a dynamic of your relationship that happens a lot, right? So if this is something that's romantic, it could be like an on again, off again relationship. And this closure is the ending of that cycle. So that could mean that you guys are just ending the relationship because you're tired of the on again, off again. Or it could mean that, you guys are going to have a conversation around like what you both really want. Do we want to keep doing this on again, off again? Do we want to work on the things that are happening with our dynamic that kind of cause us to pull away from each other? Or do we just not want to talk about that and just go our separate ways because it's not worth our time and energy, and even work to like do the work to invest further into the relationship. If this is like a family dynamic, it could be that like some part of that relationship is shifting or changing, right? So this, if this is like a parent or like a caregiver, like a grandparent, this relationship can be changing because of something that you're choosing, right? So it's like if you're choosing to move away for college, that's going to change the dynamic of your relationship. That doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean your relationship is ending. What it does mean is that there's closure on this chapter, right? So there's closure around this chapter of you living under this person's roof. If you have kind of a difficult or tumultuous relationship with like this family member or this person, it can even be like a friend, like an older male friend. I'm hesitant to say masculine energy because I feel like it's a male figure. This could be like a sibling, uncle, brother, close friend. Like the dynamic of that relationship might be changing, right? So like if this is like an older brother, then, you know, maybe they've done all the things like first, right? Maybe they got married before you, they had kids before you, and so they've always kind of seen you as the kid or as the younger sibling. But now there's something about your dynamic that's changing. Like maybe, like, I don't know, maybe you're having some like really significant success in your career that changes the way that they see you, that you're no longer like the little brother, little sister. You're the adult version of you. And so that's changing, it's changing this dynamic. And so like closure is not necessarily about endings. Closure can have to do with healing, right? That maybe if there's some kind of difficult dynamic between you and this person, as far as like the love relationship you have with them, it could be, you know, it can be romantic love, it can be platonic love, it can be familial love. It could just be anybody that you're really close to in whatever context that is for you. This closure, you know, could be about letting go of your, how you feel, like maybe letting go of the drama that is associated with part of your dynamic. Because what's coming up is it feels like there's something in this dynamic where they are just the way that they are, right? The way that like this person is sitting here, they're kind of relaxed, like they're in this really warm environment, like they're very comfortable. But I feel like with this closure card, there's a door's been closed and like someone's walking away. And so it almost feels like maybe you've been at a stalemate for a while, where it's like maybe you really wanted this person to change and you realize like they're not going to, and so you have to create your own closure around that. And what that means is maybe you have to accept that like this person is really just like, this is who they are, like they don't want to change, they're not going to change, like maybe they're a little bit too old, you know, or set in their ways to change. Because we all like, you know, we all go through things and like we can decide that like, you know, no, I don't really want to do that, like I'm happy with how I am. And if other people are not, it doesn't really matter to me. Right. And so it's almost like you have had to make a choice about like, can you accept that this is how they are? And can you close the door on trying to change them? Or like, do you need to bring an end to this relationship and close that door and move on? Right. And so like that moving on doesn't necessarily mean that like you have to end the relationship. You know, sometimes closure it is almost like setting a boundary, right? So like if there's, let's say, I don't know, let's say I have an uncle that like every time we get together, like he just likes to talk about like generational differences, right? Like let's say he's way older than me and he likes to talk about like millennials and how everything's wrong with them, you know. And then like if I try to fire back about like, well, boomers this, then he gets really mad. And like I can decide like if I want to continue to have a relationship with him or if I want to continue to have that conversation with him. Because what I've found is that like he says things that are hurtful, and when I try to speak back to him in the same tone or the same language that he uses, he gets really offended. And so maybe what I'm seeing is like there's a real like lack of self-awareness with this person, you know, or maybe they're just somebody that likes to dish it out but they can't take it. And like, do I want to engage in that? and maybe I decide I don't want to engage in those conversations. So then what happens, like maybe I put a boundary up about around those conversations. So then what happens is I see my uncle again and he's like, oh, did you see the news about this thing the millennials did? And maybe I just say, you know what, I don't really want to have this conversation with you because every time we do, it doesn't end well. And I don't like having like negative interactions with you. Like I really enjoy talking to you about other things, but like anytime this comes up, I feel like you say things and when I say something back, like you get really upset, but you're always the one that starts it. And so I don't really want to talk about this, And so maybe like that is your way of closing the book on like this kind of like this chapter of how your relationship is, and maybe like maybe they're like, oh, no, I don't do that, and you're like, okay, let's have the conversation. And then something happens and you're like, this is why I don't want to have the conversation with you, and maybe they finally see it and they're like, yeah, we don't need to talk about that anymore. Or, they might not even kind of test you on it. And I don't know, maybe they're like, oh yeah, you're just a millennial snowflake. And like, that's how you guys are. And like, we'll talk about whatever you want. But like, we always have the power to set our own boundaries. Like we have the ability to make our own choices and like we get to decide like what we want to deal with and what we don't want to deal with. And sometimes like putting up a boundary is like closing the door on some part of our interactions with people, right? It very much like feels like privacy also. So you might have a family member or like someone older, maybe even like looking at like this romantic on and off again relationship where like when you're off, like when you guys get back on together, they want to know like who you dated when you guys were on a break. And maybe you're like, no, I don't, like that's not your business because like we weren't together. And if you're that concerned about who I'm spending my time with and it makes you jealous or like you don't like me spending time with other people, then why don't you put the work in to like continue the relationship instead of us just like breaking apart and coming back together. Like this isn't healthy. This doesn't make sense. Like I feel like it's almost like this love message is letting you know that like because I feel like I'm looking at this, right? Give unconditional love and grace. You are extremely unconditionally loving to everyone around you except for you. Like you don't offer yourself the same unconditional love and grace that you give to everyone else. And it almost feels like the closure is like I keep bringing this up as someone else and you might be a male watching this, but like I feel like this closure energy is you because like this dynamic is happening because you're being invited to learn how to operate and like how to take steps to be unconditionally loving and graceful to yourself when you're in relationship or in interactions with people that maybe are not unconditionally loving to you. And so I think when we have this like imbalance in relationships, like we get to a point where it's like either we allow ourselves to be manipulated, and I'm not saying this person is like malicious. Like sometimes people just like to manipulate people because it's fun or interesting, or they're hooked on drama, and any number of things. And like I don't think it's always malicious. I think some people just don't have that awareness. Like they don't realize what they're doing because this is what they've been taught to do in relationship. But when we are in situations where people are able to manipulate us and it leaves us feeling really not good about ourselves, or it leaves us like drained, or we just don't feel good after the interaction, that's a signal that we need to put up some boundaries. And it's a signal that like that interaction is not giving us like the unconditional love that maybe we're putting out to those people, right? It's not reciprocal. It's not reciprocated. And so like this, this person kind of walking away, and especially this doorway, like this is an invitation for you to close the door on the interactions that put you in a position where you have to choose to either make this person happy or give yourself unconditional love. And I feel like this is very much timed with like Pluto and Aquarius. Like if you've been following astrology, like Pluto's moved into Aquarius. Pluto will be in the sign of Aquarius until I want to say September of this year. But like Pluto is like power dynamics, Pluto is death and rebirth, and Aquarius is the collective as well as like acquaintances and friendships. And so when we look at power dynamics and friendships, there's an imbalance here. When we look at like death or endings, so that like something new can happen for friendships or for the collective or even for acquaintances, like that's what this closure energy is. So this is the message for you around love. And like I said, this can be romantic, this can be platonic, this can be familial. This sodalite crystal, sodalite is associated with like the third eye chakra. And so like if you're not sure if the dynamic is unconditionally loving or not, you can absolutely call on your archangels, your spirit guides, like your higher self, to just kind of give you a message, give you some insight when those dynamics get kind of off, you know, and just kind of ask like, okay, what am I supposed to see about this person? What am I supposed to see in this situation? And like, you definitely will get that assistance. So let's move on to money. Okay, so, okay, we've got this Tower in reverse, and then we have this Risk card. Very interesting. Okay, so this is Saturn in Aries, which is very interesting because Saturn is Saturn is the practical, right? Like Saturn rules Capricorn. I feel like King of Pentacles is very much like, it's very much like that Capricorn energy. Like I do things the way that I do them for a purpose, and like there's a reason behind everything that I do, and don't question me. Like it's very much like this authoritarianism. But Saturn in Aries, like this, like it talks about risk. And so this Tower reversed, like it almost feels like you are going to make a decision to do something risky with your money. And so this is uncomfortable to me because I am very risk averse when it comes to monies, but this is not about me, this is about you. And so Tower reversed is like we are making a decision to kind of upend our lives, like to kind of flip things over to, you know, to essentially demolish something, right? So this can be demolishing for like the intention of like renovating a bathroom, or this can be demolishing something like there's an intention behind it. And so like the Tower upright, it's this lightning bolt, right? That strikes out of nowhere. Like this little squirrel does not know that this tree is going to get struck by lightning. Like you can't know that. You're a squirrel. You just try and collect your nuts. You're trying to get ready for the winter time. And so the Tower upright is something that's unexpected. The Tower in reverse is something that we are calling in for ourselves. And so with this risk, it almost feels like with money, like you are taking a risk with your money and you know that it's risky. But it almost feels like a calculated risk is how it feels, because like with Saturn, like things are very intentional, right? Saturn does things with intent. Like Saturn doesn't, even when Saturn is in a sign that it's not super comfortable in, it still is like pragmatic and responsible. Aries can be a little bit impulsive. Aries energy is like, I'm the leader, I'm in charge, I'm making the decisions, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And also like Aries doesn't really care if nobody follows them either. Like if they have decided they're gonna take action, they're gonna go, and if nobody follows them, like that's fine. Like I'm deciding for me. And also if you're following me and you're not making your own decisions, that's not my responsibility, right? So I feel like that's kind of where that impulsive energy comes in. It's almost from the outside looking in, it feels like it looks reckless to other people. And so I'm not sure if you are financially responsible for other people, like as far as like, you know, children or a spouse. Like I think other people on the outside might judge you for taking this financial risk because you have people that are responsible for you. If you don't, you know, if you are someone that like, you're just single, you don't have like kids, you know, you don't have fur babies that you're responsible for, because sometimes fur babies are expensive. If it's just you and you're deciding to make a risky choice about money, it feels like what I'm hearing is it's a little bit defensive, but it's this message of, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. And so to me, the energy of it feels like I know what I'm doing. And I know that if I lose all this money I've invested, that I've calculated that in. I've factored that in. I've also factored in if I take this risk and it pays off. Like you have this full spectrum view of it, and it feels, like I said, to me it feels uncomfortable because I do not like taking risks with money. That's my own money stuff, but I feel like when I'm like tuning into your energy around this, like it almost feels like if you go to Vegas and like you have saved up $100 and like that's the money that you're gonna blow in Vegas, and if you lose it, then that's fine because that's what you put it aside for. Like, right, you had this $100 and it's like, nope, this is my gambling money, and if I lose this $100, I've postured myself so that I'm not stuck out. Like it's not like I can't pay my light bill or I can't get gas or I can't get food. So it has very much like that energy where it's like I've set this aside and I'm intentionally willing to lose this money. I'm willing to risk the loss of this money. Maybe because you want the experience or because you're learning. Like there's a really strong, like I'm hearing really strongly like crypto and like investing. So I don't know if like you're learning to invest and maybe you've taken some money that you're like, you know, I'm just going to invest however much money it is into this stock and whatever happens is going to happen. Because I don't feel like you're making a foolish decision. What it feels like is that other people that you've shared this with are like, I wouldn't do that. Why are you doing that? Like, what if you lose all of it? Like, and there's a lot of kind of fear from other people around this, but I don't feel like you're fearful about it. And I feel like if, I don't want to say that this is going to pay off because I feel like I'm not sure, but I do feel like if you have thought through this and like you've calculated everything and you've kind of budgeted or whatever you need to do to make sure that all the other requirements, all your other financial requirements are going to be fine. I don't see anything negative happening around this, but I also feel like this tower reverse makes me uncomfortable. So I feel like I just need to kind of caution you that like, if you haven't thought through this, there just needs to be an understanding that like the risk that you're taking can have some big after effects that are a result of the decision that you've made, right? And so like I say it that way because it's like you could I don't know who has this money, but like you could take $10,000 and invest it and you could potentially lose all 10,000 of those dollars, or you could potentially, you know, have a really significant thing happen, like a really significant payoff, or even like learn something about what you're investing in. But I feel like if you lose it, there's going to be a lot of people that are like, I told you so. And if you make a lot of money, there's still going to be a lot of skeptical people. And so I feel like I need to mention that in case you're choosing to do this to like prove people wrong or prove yourself right. I feel like that energy That's it's a little bit like egocentric. It's a little bit unstable. I feel like it's not the best place to make decisions from. So if you have strategized, and like you've calculated the risk and you're prepared for whatever consequence comes from it, that's between you and your money. But that's the energy that I'm picking up around like money. And then the next part is the purpose reading. So we've got the world, and then we've got this trust card. Okay. So this energy is very similar, this like closure energy. And so like for your purpose, like you're coming into like you were in a cycle of learning, and so you've completed whatever this like cycle learning lesson is around like your purpose. And so our purpose, I don't believe that we have like one life purpose. Like I feel like this is like for you, this is like a stepping stone towards something bigger, almost like a graduation that like you like went through some kind of lesson, and the things that you went through, like that kind of lesson or like chapter in your life has kind of like wrapped up. Just like we've got this like kind of snake, that's like eating its own tail, like it's never ending, and this person's like walking through this kind of I want to say channel, it's not a channel, like a portal, like a doorway, a portal. And so like this person, like there's so much positivity, so much light, like they're looking up, like it just very much gives me like this graduation completion energy. And then also with like trust, like you might not be aware that you're like closing out a lesson, or that you've learned something, or that you're moving into something new. And so if you're kind of in this like liminal space, which it feels like you might be coming into, like you're being encouraged just to trust in like God's source spirit, like in a higher power. If you're feeling kind of unstable, definitely like going out into nature, because we've got like these kind of rolling hills and like these trees and things like that, and like the moonlight and the stars, like this to me is very much like kind of communing in nature. And so it almost feels like these two situations are part of this kind of closing out culmination energy, right? That like you're going through a big lesson in like how you love yourself, and how you operate in love, and how you interact with people when it's difficult. You're learning, I feel like this money situation is definitely like a lesson in self-trust. Like you're learning how to listen to your higher self versus listening to your ego. You're learning how to listen to like your own wisdom versus like the fear that other people have. The self-trust, like this, is like the culmination of a new version of the self, and like, kind of moving the circular energy, like moving towards trust. So it feels like you're like the good things that are coming for you are that like you're learning how to love yourself more, how to love yourself more deeply, in these kind of turbulent relationships. You're shifting away from kind of like bowing down to these people that are sort of in like positions of authority, or like people that have tried to assert power over you. The good things that are coming for you in money is that like you're learning a really big lesson around money. Like whatever choice you make, like it feels like it's not that it doesn't matter what choice you make. Like the choice you make is directly related to the lesson that you need to learn about trusting yourself with money. Right? So if you invest and you lose it all, then you're learning like, okay, was I listening to my ego, or was I even tapping into my own wisdom? If you invest this money because you're following your intuition, or because it's in alignment and like it's a really good payoff, then like you'll kind of know that like, okay, this is what it sounds like to follow my intuition. This is what it feels like to be in alignment with like source. And like those are really big lessons in self-trust, and that like, as you're kind of going through these, that's leading to this like next stepping stone towards your purpose. because like until you learn what it feels like to like trust yourself and be in alignment with like your higher power, then you can't hear the calling of like God, source, spirit, or even your higher self when they're directing you to get into alignment, to be like to operate in your purpose. I hope that makes sense, because like purpose is something that's so, I feel like it's kind of a little bit more of like an energy than like a job, right? Like I don't feel like our purpose on earth is like to be an accountant, right? You know, but our purpose on earth might be to take that wisdom of like accounting and be able to like help people that are financially illiterate to learn like how the financial system works, right? Like to kind of help teach people things about like you know, the difference between a credit union and like a bank, or like how a money market works, or, you know, what saving and investing looks like, instead of what kind of like the elite rich make people think that savings and investing looks like, and that it's actually available to everybody, right? That like our purpose is about like elevating others, like bringing everybody up, you know, kind of being part of like that rising tide that lifts all ships, you know, and that like our purpose is not just a job. You know, our purpose can be tied to a job, right? Like that maybe somebody that's like a NICU nurse, like part of their purpose is to provide like healing and nurturing to like little bitty babies, but like the fact that like they get paid to do it doesn't make them good at being a nurturer, right? Like the essence of who they are is like a nurturing person. I hope that makes sense. And then your last two oracle cards are messages from spirit, like just a little bit of like support, guidance, encouragement. So we have, it feels good to feel good. Yeah, I love that. And then I call back my power. Okay. I feel like that very much has to do with this, you know, because even the colors, right? Like the colors are very similar. This, like the reds and yellows, as well as here. And even these in the green, you know, that like in those kind of tricky interactions with people, you can set those boundaries to call your power back. That, you know, you don't have to let these people say whatever nonsense they want to say to you. You don't have to engage in those conversations. Like, and even, you know, those like the on again, off again romantic relationships, like you can make the choice to say, you know, this is not what I want. I love you. I'd love to be with you, but I don't want it to be like this. Like if this is all you have to offer, I gotta go. Because I feel like we could have something better if we both were willing to do the work and invest more, you know. And so if you're ready, you know, when you're ready, if you're ready, you let me know. Till then, I'm gonna go and be unconditionally loving and graceful with myself. But yeah, I feel like it's good to feel good. I feel like, especially around this situation, this money thing, like if you don't feel good about like this investment, like if you feel like if there's like, because I'm feeling a little like weird in my stomach, so almost like if there's some anxiety or nervousness, your body's trying to tell you like no go. Same with these interactions, right? Like with these difficult interactions, like if it doesn't feel good, that's a message, a notification that like that's not what's in the like what's in your best and highest good. Yeah. So group number 1, this has been your Good Things Are Coming reading. So I hope that it was helpful. I hope that like you got some guidance that was beneficial to you, and you know, that you can see that there are really good things that are coming, even when it's a little bit tricky like to get there, right? That like sometimes we got to walk through it to get to the bright side, right? It's almost like, it's like the story that people tell about buffaloes, like when there's like a really big storm, like like buffaloes can sense that a storm is coming, they will run headfirst into the storm, so that they can get through it, get to the other side as fast as possible, instead of running away from it, because it's going to catch them and they'll just be in it longer. So they will like rush towards the storm to just get through it. And so kind of feels like sometimes like it's counterintuitive and it doesn't sound great and it doesn't seem like it would feel good. And sometimes it doesn't feel great. But I think when we're in it, like just continuing to move forward and knowing that like there are good things on the other side of like those hard days. And that if we continue to move through it, then we're getting to those good things faster. So yeah, group number 1. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. I would especially love it if you would like to comment and let me know which part of the reading like you enjoyed, which part resonated for you. And yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for letting me read your cards. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, group number 2. So if you chose this snake card and this flower agate, this is your reading. So let's look at, let me see, I've got two oracle cards for you. We'll save those till the end. These are kind of encouraging messages from God's source spirit, higher power, whatever you like to call it. But let's look at your love message. So, okay. So we have this kind of funny Knight of Cups. We have this girl that is riding on the back of a flamingo. She doesn't have any clothes on, but she does have a pillow. So she's a smart girl. So we've got Knight of Cups and well-being. And so we have this woman laying here. It looks very similar, right? Like these two images look very similar. Dark-haired, fair-skinned lady. So if that's your preference when it comes to love, that might be what's coming towards you. But Knight of Cups are about, action, forward progress. Cups is about love. So what I'm feeling is that there is someone that's coming in that you have a suitor, a potential love interest that just wants to kind of like love and spoil you. Like they just want to bring you, they just want to be like, God, they just want to nurture you. Like there's, the word devotion is coming up. They just, they're here, they have their love that they want to offer, and they just want to lay you down and spoil you. So I feel like that's the G-rated version of of this message. Like they want to take care of you. They want to just bring you lots of lovely, like, just do like make you dinners and like take you nice places and like drive you around and just kind of like spoil you and like because they just want to like luxuriate in your energy. Like they just really like being in your company. Like they feel really, really good when they're around you. And so it's almost like in exchange for how good it feels to be close to you, they just are trying to do things to make you feel as good as they feel when they are with you, which I feel like is really sweet. Like this person's very tender, loving, like whether it's a man or a woman, like they have very soft spoken. I feel like if it's a man, it's a very soft spoken man, like doesn't say a lot. Really sweet-natured, a little bit bashful. Like I'm seeing someone that has like a bouquet of flowers behind his back and he's kind of looking down and he's just like holding the flowers up, and kind of mumbling like, I got these for you because they're pretty and you're pretty. Like, yeah, it feels like they feel there's kind of a young energy there as far as like love and relationships. So this is not necessarily somebody that is young, but this is someone that's kind of inexperienced when it comes to like romantic relationships or long-term relationships. Like I feel like this person has never felt the way they feel about you with anyone else, so it's almost like they don't really It's like, it's really sweet. They don't know what to do with themselves because they've never been here before. It almost reminds me of in Talladega Nights where they're interviewing Ricky Bobby, and he's like, I don't know what to do with my hands, and so he just keeps holding them up like that. I feel like that's the same energy. Like, they don't know what to do with themselves. Like, they just really like being around you, and they just like spending time with you, and they like get you these little gifts, and they're like, I saw this thing and it made me think of you and here. Like, it's making me giggle. It's very sweet and very, I like it. I like it for you. Just really, really kind of adorable. Yeah. So, very nurturing. Like, they want to take care of you. Like, this person, like they want to take care of you, not like waiting on you hand and foot, but it's almost like they, they want to take care of you in regards like to like, did you eat lunch today? And maybe you're like, oh no, it was a really busy day at work and I didn't have time to eat. And they're like, well, I have to make you dinner now. Like, what we can't, like, we can't watch a movie. I have to make you dinner first. And then like, once you have dinner, then we can hang out and do something. Like, it's just very, it's really very, very sweet energy. I love it. Next is money. So you got 2 cards for money. I'm going to put your little love message over here. Put your little love birds over here. So you got 2 cards for, money. I was trying to just pull one, but like the 2 came out. So let's see what they are. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I like it. So we have, for your tarot, we've got 2 of cups. And we've got with this imagery, it's, a woman and a man, and they're pouring into each other's cups. So even when this is reverse, like he's emptying his cup, out into her cup. She's pouring her cup into his, he's catching it. And so I feel like this is very, like, if you're like, this is, I feel like this is, sorry, this is like business partnership. Like, you might be wanting to start something with someone, and with this Hermit card, what it feels like to me is like to be very quiet about it, right? So like, you're going to talk to your business partner about whatever you guys are going to do. For some reason, this feels like something as small as like a land, not small. I feel like I'm not trying to trivialize it, but, maybe simple is a better word. Like, this might be something as simple as like you and your buddy deciding that like you want to start a landscaping business, and that like maybe you guys are tired of like working construction, and one of you has a truck and the other one has a lawnmower, and like you guys don't mind getting up early, you don't mind being hot and sweaty, you like hanging out, you are tired of working for somebody else. So you have a conversation, you're like, you want to just start like mowing lawns? Like, like it can't be that hard, right? Like, we mow our own lawns. We mow lawns for like our grandparents. Like, it can't be that hard to do it. We just kind of go places and talk to people. Everybody that's got a lawn needs it mowed, and like, these people charge this much, and like, we could charge $5 less, and so, the Hermit energy is kind of feeling like keep it to yourself. And I'm not, well, I was gonna say, I'm not really sure why, but I do know why. Unfortunately, like, you can't share all your good news with everybody. I think that's like a really unfortunate thing about human beings, that like, that there are people that, like, even the people that love us really dearly, sometimes we share our good news with them and like, they can't receive it, they can't hold it for us, right? Because we're human beings and we all have our own stuff that we're dealing with. But I'm getting the feeling that like, there are certain people that you'll share this with, that are just gonna be like, why would you quit your job? Like, why would you do that? Like, all they have to offer is like doubt. And it has nothing to do with your capability. It has nothing to do with your friendship with this business partner person. Because I feel like with this moon in Cancer, like the moon in Cancer is, Cancers are like a very intuitive psychic sign because they're ruled by the moon, but moon in Cancer like is even more heightened like intuition and awareness. And so like Cancer is a water sign, and so like water signs are typically pretty deep. Not a big fan of the superficial, like very friendly, but like the preference is like deep connections, authentic connections. And so that's why I'm saying like this friendship, like a business, starting a business with your friend, that with this Hermit card, like I'm, for whatever reason, like whoever you're starting the business with, like I feel like they've already been through the lesson of like you can't share your good news with everybody. So like they have no intention of like telling anybody. One, because like they don't need other people's approval, but two, like it's not your business. Like how I make my money is not your business. And so unless somebody on the outside wants to invest in what you're doing, then we can talk about it, but that's still not, that doesn't mean you get to make any decisions. Like, so this friend that you're going into business with, like, they're very, very grounded, secure. Like I really appreciate this energy for you, because I don't know if you're new to business, or if, just being in this lesson of learning that you can't share your good things with everybody. Because like this Hermit, like when we look at his face, he's kind of grumpy, right? And also he's, I feel like this is just kind of a non-traditional hermit, which is fine, but he's up in outer space. Like this is Saturn, or it looks like Saturn, it looks like the rings, and he's got his lantern under his cloak, but he's like out in space. And it almost feels to me like the people that you choose to share the news of starting a business with, like these people are, it's almost like it shifts the way they interact with you. And they're like, I think that you starting a business triggers them because they want to do it and they can't figure out how. And really what it is that like they doubt themselves and they're scared and they're projecting their stuff onto you. But because you choosing to start a business and it being so easy for you, because it's going to be very easy. Like, I feel like you and your friend are going to have this business, and then like you're going to look back on things in 6 months and be like, how did we like trip and fall into becoming like successful business owners? Like, what is our life? Like, what is this, And like in a really positive way, like in a really like joyful, happy way, like, man, this is like almost too easy, And it's like, yeah, that's divine alignment. Like, great job. But it feels like the people that you share it with, like they're going to be triggered, and like their reaction to being triggered by you is almost to like belittle you. Like, I feel like with this Hermit being like way up high in outer space, like these people that you share your news with are going to be like, the way that they talk, like they're going to talk down to you. And it's almost like a defense mechanism where it's like they're trying to make themselves feel better about not being brave enough to do it. And so like putting you down, making you small, makes them feel better about themselves, which one, I'm really sorry, like if you experience that. Two, that is absolutely about them. It is not about you. And like three, like that's ew. Come on, that's like a big ew, right? That like that's not necessary. Like if my choices trigger you, that's your work to do. So like go do your own work. But two, like if I'm sharing good news with you and all you have is like bad things to say about it, like that is a really clear sign that I can't share good things with you. And so I think like the good thing about this, like the good thing that's obviously like the business is the good thing coming out of this, but because like your energy to me feels like, no, I don't have people like that around me. Like I don't have that. Like everybody that is in my circle, like they're really supportive and like they love me and they only want good things for me. And like, absolutely, I hope that I am wrong. Unfortunately, if I am not, I feel like this is a lesson that like you're going to learn really quick. Like the good thing is that like it's almost like you you won't actually share all the news. You'll be like, yeah, I was thinking about doing this. And like their stuff is going to be triggered so quick that you're like, oh, I am going to lie and say, oh yeah, I was just thinking about it. I probably won't do it. Yeah, you're right. And like kind of almost like back out of it, instead of like sharing all of it and like having your feelings really hurt. So it almost feels like you'll see it coming. And, you know, and I think just the lesson in that is that like if people are triggered by your good news, like that just says something about them. It's not about you. I'm going to leave this up here because I feel like this is the goodest part. Even though like you have like this love stuff is really amazing. I feel like this feels like more exciting because I almost feel like whoever this person is that comes in, I don't want to say you're resistant, but you're going to kind of be like, oh, okay, thank you. That's really nice. But this is a lot. And like, like just slow down. Like, I feel like this could almost make you uncomfortable. I think this could almost make a lot of people uncomfortable where it's like, I don't need you to like wait on me hand and foot. Like, thank you so much for caring about me. But like, this is more than I'm not used to this. This is a lot, and so let's look at your purpose. So the first card is Two of Swords, and then we have Immerse. Okay, so with group number 1, I had talked about like what our purpose is, and so our purpose, I feel like is not necessarily like something that we do, right? Like it's not necessarily a job, right? So like to go back to like the example of like the construction worker, like your purpose on this earth is not to build structures, right? That's not your purpose on earth is not to like lay concrete. Your purpose in this life could be connected to like skills that you have, like things that you've learned, but I feel like our purpose in life it has to do with something bigger that we're here to do. And so the analogy that I used was that like part of our purpose is to contribute to the raising of the tide that lifts all the ships, right? So it might be, let's say that like the landscaping business, right? That like part of your purpose might be supporting other small business owners, like teaching people from your experiences, like from you and your bestie, like starting, or you and your, buddy starting this landscaping business, like teaching people how to do it, right? And it can be something like teaching people like the importance of having an LLC, or like teaching people the importance of like having an accountant to like just explain taxes to you. It can be like, maybe like as you're learning how to build your business and grow your business and have employees, like kind of networking with other small business owners and like sharing information so that like everybody can improve. So I feel like that, purpose is like this really kind of big intangible thing. But I feel like for you right now, this stage that you're in, this place that you're in, phase, chapter, whatever you want to call it, like this point in your life, what you're being called to do, like your purpose is to get really, really internal, introspective. And so that's not necessarily like being alone. Like the Hermit card is like someone that's alone, but like to be introspective, we don't have to like lock ourselves in like our homes and like never come out. Like this introspection, like this immersion is really just spending like 10, 15, 30 minutes a day just with yourself. Like no video games, like no TV, no phone, no distractions, like just kind of spending time with yourself. And so like with this Two of Swords, like she's got this butterfly blindfold on, and then she's got these two swords that she's holding. In the traditional Two of Swords, like her arms are crossed over her chest, just to kind of signify like this confliction, right? Because it would be awkward to hold two swords like this. In this card, she's not conflicted. Like she's very intentionally holding these two swords, but she's got her vision kind of taken away, and just kind of feeling like what is behind her, and it's like really, it's kind of like she's inside this jellyfish, and like whatever all this crazy stuff is, like it almost looks like a heart too, in a way, like these are like ventricles or something. So maybe this is not a jellyfish. Maybe it's a heart. I don't know. It's, I think it looks beautiful, but, that immersion, introspection, like your purpose right now is to really get introspective and spend time, quiet time with yourself. And so that looks different for everybody. For some people, it's journaling. Some people, it's going to be going out in nature and taking a walk. Some people, it might be sitting outside in their like backyard or like on their balcony, like under the moonlight. It could be meditation, anything where you're able to just get still and quiet with yourself. I can see you going for like a drive, like kind of somewhere out in the middle of nowhere where it's like you're not having to think about like, okay, I have to take a left here, take a right there. It's almost like you like to drive and just get lost, and like the radio's not on, maybe the windows are down, like there's not a lot of traffic. You're just going, you're just driving to spend time with yourself. Because there's something that like, I don't know how to say this in a way that's going to make sense. There's something you need to know about yourself. And like in spending this time by yourself with yourself, you're going to learn things about yourself that like you didn't know. And a lot of it feels like kind of figuring out like what it is that you want for yourself in this life, and I think that this is really triggered by like the success that you're going to be experiencing, right? Because like this, this relationship, like it's, this person's going to, when this person comes in, like it might be a lot for you, and it might not, right? And even if you share with them like, hey, this is a lot, this is moving a little bit too fast, like that they are totally happy with like slowing down because they respect that you have different needs than them, and that like they're very understanding, like even though they're like super nurturing and they want to do all the things for you, like it's not like a weird obsession thing, like this is just how they love. But I think they also understand that like they can be a lot to people, and that like you're not telling them like, hey, you're too much or you're a lot. You're just like, this, I'm not used to this, and this is like, can we slow down, or can we whatever? Or even like, if it's the stuff with the business where you're like, hey, it's going to be a long day, and like I'm not going to be able to see you for a couple days because we're going to go do some golf courses like in another state, because they, I don't know, like it's 2 hours away and it's really great money. And so we're just going to do some, I don't know, reseeding or whatever. I don't know a whole lot about landscaping, but like any kind of things with that, like they're going to be fine with that. They're not going to be like weird and obsessive. So I don't know if that came across that way in the beginning, but I feel like I needed to say that. But so you're going to have a lot of success in this relationship. Like this is going to be something that turns into something long-term. This is also something that's long-term, like this business that you're starting with your friend. And so I think that the importance of you spending time alone in your own energy to get really introspective, that need is going to be triggered by like this external success, because I feel like you haven't experienced this kind of external success before. And for some people, they're like, oh my gosh, this is too good to be true. Like I'm resistant. You're not like that. You're like, oh, okay. Like if my life can be this good with like this little effort, where it's like, if I'm able to receive all these really good things, what will my life look like if I intentionally plan to make it successful? And so like in that time that you're spending by yourself, like that's what your purpose is right now, to really kind of figure out like, what do you want for your life? And I say right now, like I want to say like the next 3 to 6 months, this is when this stuff is like all unfolding for you. And so I feel like this is not something you have to like remember, right? That like this is going to be something that gradually happens. It's like this unfolding around what your purpose is in this current chapter of abundance. That like if you can just trip and fall into like an amazing, loving, healthy relationship and like having a business with one of your best friends, like if you can just like trip and fall into this, like what happens if you like actually make a plan? Like I feel like that's where your mindset's going to go. You know, because like I said, you guys are gonna be maybe 6 months into this business and like look back and we're like, oh my god, what happened? Like, look at us, look at us. We're just a couple dipshits that have a whole business. Like that's kind of the energy that it feels like, where it's like some sarcasm and some like humility, you know, but it's like we didn't really try this hard and it worked out really well. So like, what happens if we actually try hard? So, yeah, just this is not necessarily something that you need to do. This is something that's going to be part of this unfolding, which is really, I think, just lovely. And then finally, we have your 2 oracle cards. So let's see what we've got. I'm patient, knowing that whatever is of the highest good is coming to me. Yes. And then believing is seeing. Yes. Yes. Okay. So this very much feels like that introspection, right? Where it's like, you know, I can tell you in this reading that you're going to have a really successful business with a friend that like someone that you are like really good friends with. And you might be like, yeah, that would be great. But you're not going to believe me about it until like you're actually in the business, right? Because even if like you have a friend that like has these conversations with you about starting businesses, like maybe you've never taken them seriously. Or even if you have that conversation and like you think back on this reading and you're like, no, what? No. And then, you know, in 6 months and you guys are like, oh my gosh, what is this? Then, you know, that experience, like that's going to be you believing it because you're seeing it in your life that like you guys just kind of tripped and fell into a really successful business. I am patient. To me, this feels like for some of you, this other person that's coming in is going to be really, really patient with you, which is beautiful. And then for others of you, like you can't see how this love is going to come in, right? So it's like you've been patient, you know, hoping that like the universe would send you love, but it's like you can't really see it, right? Where it's like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to meet this person. Like, are you going to send them to my house? Like, I don't know how this is supposed to happen, but okay. And it's like, sure, universe, I'll keep waiting. Like, I'm not in a hurry to the point, like, I'm not going to go out and go on like the dating sites. And I'm not going to go out to bars and meet people. Like, I'm patient, but skeptical. That's what it feels like. And then for others of you, like, this person that comes, or it could be both, you know, like, but this person that comes in, like they're very, very patient with you, you know, that like they understand that like I said, they have a lot to give and that like sometimes it's overwhelming and it's like, you know, because I feel like you are such an abundant person. Like a lot of times the imagery of pregnancy represents abundance because like women that are pregnant are literally full of life and vitality. Like you are full, your body is full of another human life. Like there's how much more abundant can you be than to grow another human inside your body? Like, come on. And so like you have a lot of abundance. Like I feel like things typically are pretty easy for you. Things that are hard for other people are typically easy for you. And so like this person wanting to like just continue to give to you, it's like, even this interaction, it's this person is kind of hesitantly taking this flower that's being given to them and they're holding their belly like, well, I already have so much, like you don't need to give me more. You know, and I think when we are given things, like when the universe gifts us things, it's not our place to decide whether we are worthy or not to receive them. The fact that they have come to us means that like we're vibrating at that level, like we're a vibrational match for whatever is coming in. So it's like, it's almost like, why would you question, like if you were a wild animal, like why would you question that like there's water in a watering hole, right? Like you wouldn't be like, ooh, am I as a gazelle, like, am I good enough to like drink water out of this watering hole? No, it's like, I'm thirsty and I'm going to receive this water that's here. So like, you being abundant and like things coming to you really easily, it's not your job to question the good things that are coming to you. Just receive them. That's what I need you to do. I just need you to receive all the good things that are coming. And there are a lot of good things that are coming. So group number 2, this has been your Good Things Are Coming reading. So if you enjoy the reading, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. I hope that it was like fun and enjoyable for you. It was fun for me. I mean, I always think it's fun to like see the good things that are like coming for other people, because I like good things, especially for everybody. Everybody deserves good stuff. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for letting me read cards for you. And thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, group number 3. So if you chose this little bat card and this fun little amethyst, this is your reading. So I have 2 oracle cards for you that we'll look at later. Those are kind of encouragement, messages from God, Source, Spirit, Higher Power, Divine essence of all the magic, whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe in. And then I pulled tarot cards for you from the Happy Tarot. So let's look at your love reading. Okay. Ooh. So we have this knight, nope. This is a page. This is a page of wands and reconciliation. So if you have been in separation with someone, maybe it's been like, maybe you guys broke up, maybe you're just kind of, it doesn't feel like you're on a break. It feels like something happened and you guys kind of went your separate ways, right? So this can be that like one of you moved away. This can be that the relationship kind of fell apart, like things just kind of fizzled out and like you both equally let go. This can be someone from your past, you know, that like maybe someone that you dated and like it didn't work out. This could even be a friendship, like this can be like an old friend from high school. But this page of wands, that's, sorry, there's cat hair on there. There's cat hair everywhere. This page of wands is a message about action. So someone is going to like send you a message essentially to reconcile. And so this can be like I said, this can be a friend, you know, because we've got these 2 women here that are kind of, they're holding hands, but they're leaning away from each other. And so it almost feels like, well, they're reaching out towards each other, reaching in towards each other. So that's why I say like it feels like there was some kind of like separation, right? Like that maybe the friendship fell apart, or maybe just some things happened and you guys just kind of moved away from each other. I'm getting like long distance. So maybe like one of you moved, right? Like you moved literally moved to a different state and like just you know, you can't have Sunday brunch with somebody when they don't live in the same state as you. But yeah, like they're going to be reaching out to you to reconcile. They're going to be reaching out to, Ben says, yeah. Can I help you, sir? They're going to be reaching out to, like, they're going to be making contact with you. And I feel like, okay, I'm going to pull another card for this, because I feel like I want to know what they're reaching out about, because we're not in Mercury retrograde. So this is not like an ex that's just popping up to say hi. It feels like it feels intentional, and I'm nosy and I want to know what they want. Okay, so what I'm having a hard time shuffling here. Okay, what does this person from group 3's past, what do they want? What are they coming back for? Oh, jeez. I'm having a hard time shuffling. Okay, let's see. Interesting. Okay, so this is Emperor. Oops. So the Emperor is someone that's very secure in themselves, kind of an authority figure. Like, are they trying to assert their dominance with you? That's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. I don't know why that came in my mind, but that's kind of a weird thing to do, right? To come in and be like, hey, you're going to be my friend again and you're going to be with me, which, I mean, it could, I don't know if that's like, maybe that's the dynamic that you guys had before. Maybe that's like, maybe they're kind of sarcastic. Maybe they're a little bit funny. Maybe they're going to come in and just be really assertive. Maybe they're just going to come in and be really direct and say, hey, these are the things that happened. This is why I disappeared, or this is why I let go, or this is really what I would like. What would you like? Because it feels like they were very insecure before, but now they've been through some things and they're much more secure in who they are. And so it almost feels like if things fizzled out with this person and like things went kind of no contact, because they just kind of faded into the darkness, like they backed away slowly. They've done a lot of changing and growing and shifting, to become a more kind of direct, secure version of themselves, so it almost feels like this person's going to come forward and they're going to take accountability for what happened, and they're going to let you know what they would like. And like you have the option to say, sure, I would like that, or like, no, thank you, I don't want that. And so I'm nosy. Oh, and I want to pull another card to see what is the outcome. Okay. So, the outcome of this, I feel like this is you, looking out. So 3 of Wands is, it's associated with like management a lot of times, like taking stock of things. And so, because you're looking back, I feel like you're going to need you're being encouraged to take some time. So if, the person's really direct and they're like, hey, I want to be with you again. And like, these are all the things I know I did wrong. And like, this is how I've changed. And this is what I would like moving forward. And like, what would you like? I feel like the encouragement is for you to take some time and really analyze for yourself what it is that you want and how you feel about what they've shared with you. Because I think like in this card looking back, like sometimes we get nostalgic and we only see the really positive things about like the person that we were with before, or on the flip side, we only see the really negative things from the past. But also like this person kind of facing away, to me, it feels like you need to get alone with yourself. You need to get focused on like what you want, what feels good for you. Cause they might be asking you also that like, this is what I want. What would you like in this? And it almost feels like you haven't really thought about it, that like, sure, you're open to this person coming back in because that's what I feel. But like, there's hesitance around like going back to how it was before, right? Like you don't want it to be how it was before, but you also haven't thought about like what you want it to be because you didn't think this would happen. Like you don't see this coming. Yeah. So I feel like it's very, very interesting love reading. Yeah. So definitely taking time for yourself to figure out what it is that you want, what you, what you want, what you need, what you would like moving forward with this reconciliation, as well as if you even want to reconcile, because there's some of you that might be like, no, too little, too late. Sorry, not sorry, and then I feel like quite a few of you are like, what is this? Like in my wildest dreams, I did not see this coming. What is going on? And just kind of taking some time with yourself, or even talking to a bestie, even if your bestie's a cat. Like just kind of taking some time, to get clear on it by yourself or with the people that, really want the best for you, and they're not attached to like an outcome. So that's your love reading. So let's look at your money reading. Also, the other thing with this group was that like this love card just like flew out. Like I was shuffling it, just like flew out of the deck. So I feel like this message is gonna come pretty. It's gonna come pretty soon, and it's gonna be pretty fast, if that makes sense. So almost like the energy of it is really fast. Where like I said with the Emperor, like they might message you out of nowhere and be like, hey, these are all the things I did wrong, and this is all the stuff I've been doing to change it, and this is what I want, and I would like to, can we FaceTime tomorrow? And I was like, what is happening? Like I feel like that's kind of like they're ready. They're ready. But we all have free will, we all have choice, and like you can take as much time as you need, you know. You don't have to get caught up in like the rush of this like Page of Wands, you know, because wands are really fast moving energy. You know, just like they probably took a lot of time before you guys got in contact again, you can take as much time as you need. And you know, I think it's only respectful to like let them know like, hey, I need some time. You know, if you have an idea of how much time that is, if it's like, I need a week to think about this, or like, I don't know how long I need, but I'll let you know when I figure something out, but it's going to take me a while, you know? And so then they can make their own decisions, right? Because I don't feel like you don't want to take time to yourself, like, in spite of them kind of disappearing. Like it feels like, you know, you're like, this is a lot. Like I don't know what's happening, and I have other stuff going on in my life, and like I just need 2 weeks to sort through my brain, and then I will get back to you. Okay. So yeah. So next is your money reading. So let's see. Oh, another page. So Page of Cups and Exaltation, which is the moon in Taurus. So I feel like you have some money abundance that's coming for you, because like the Page of Cups is, you know, pages or a message about love. Or sorry, Page of Cups. Cups is about love. Pages are messengers. But I feel like this is like big abundance energy, because like your cup runneth over with money, maybe change, hopefully dollars. Nobody wants a cup full of change. But like this exaltation, Taurus is very much about like the tangible things in life. Taurus rules the second house. The moon is really our inner world, our like psychology. So it almost feels like you're coming into like an abundance mindset around money, around value, around worth, like what you're worth, like what your time and energy is worth, how much money you want, you know, that like, for some of you, it feels like you might be looking at like, changing jobs, because maybe you've been doing some like research and seeing that like what you do at your job at this other place, people get paid twice as much as what you make. And you know that you're really good at what you do, and that you don't have a lot of upward mobility where you're at, or maybe you've already asked for a raise, or maybe you just like don't want to ask for a raise because you don't really want to stay there. But for some of you, it feels like you might be looking at like moving into a different job, or even like a different career field for money reasons, and that like that's going to be really prosperous for you. Some of you might come into money, like depending on like what kind of skill you have. Like you might get approached by someone to like start a little side hustle. You know, like let's say that, I don't know, like you're a photographer, right? That like you take photos of food at work. Like that's your job, you know, and somebody else might approach you and be like, wow, you're like really good at taking photos. Like, have you ever thought of being like a wedding photographer? Have you thought of doing boudoir photos? Or have you thought of like doing this other thing with photography on the side, because like you have a really distinct eye and not everybody can do what you do. And I think it would be really cool if you tried it with this, you know? So some of you might be like, you might get a message about like an opportunity, you might get a message about a new way to make money. And really whatever it is that you're trying to do around money, and your money mindset, like it's gonna pay off. Like I think even some of you might be looking at like maybe even like working with like a money coach or like a financial advisor, or even like a manifestation coach for some reason is coming to mind. Like kind of like courses or workshops on like manifestation or money mindset. Like those things are going to be really positive for you. So yeah, that's lovely. This is great. I mean, like I'm a Capricorn rising, so I love money. I don't necessarily like to spend it. I just like to have it because it makes me feel safe. But I mean, sometimes I like to spend. I like to go on vacation. Um, anyway, this is not about me. This is about me being excited that you have really good money things coming for you. Because I love money, and I love when people that are like regular people get more money, and not CEOs and billionaires. They have enough money. They need to share it. Okay, next is your purpose reading. So, and Ben agrees. Okay, so we've got 2 cards here. Let me flip this one over. We've got Queen of Cups, 8 of Wands, and then we've got this Ponder card. So we have this Queen of Cups in reverse, and I told the other 2 groups about like the purpose reading is really like our purpose for being here, or even the purpose of the season that we're in. I believe, that it has nothing to do with like our job. I think a lot of times purpose gets associated with like your job or your work. Sometimes your purpose is tied to your job, but like your job is not your purpose. So when I think of like what our purpose is in this lifetime, our purpose for being here is to contribute to something that raises, or that like shifts the tide so that all ships are able to rise. So it's like some kind of like contribution to like the collective. And the collective can be like the demographic that you're part of, like the group you're part of, like just humanity in general. So like some of the examples that I used were like that, like you can be like a NICU nurse, and like your job is to take care of, babies, but like your purpose is to heal and nurture little bitty babies, right? That like you can be a nurse and not be like, not have the essence of like a healer or a nurturer, right? Like you can learn the skills and like pass all the pharmacy classes and all the things to like get a degree and get a job, but like that doesn't mean that like that's the essence of who you are. So like, someone's purpose can be to be a healer and a nurturer, and they find that in the job of being a NICU nurse, or maybe they find that in the job of like being a hospice care provider, or being a mother, or being like a rich auntie, or like being I don't know, like a doula, or like a midwife or something, right? It's like the essence of like what each person contributes. I feel like that is their purpose. Like that's the purpose that like they serve here in this incarnation. Or if you don't believe in reincarnation, like that is the purpose of like them being here as a human. And so like I feel like your purpose right now is really tied into balancing out like self-care and like really fast movement. Like this Queen of Cups is very much about like nurturing and caring, but in the reverse, like there's a need for self-care. 8 of Wands is like fast acting movement. So like fast action. Like I feel like you're someone that like you're able to like launch things really quickly. You're able to work really quickly. Like you get things done really quickly. Like you're just able to like work really, really efficiently and effectively. And a lot of times like work comes before everything else, including your self-care. And so right now, like the season that you're in, your purpose is to learn how to balance those 2 things, and to do that, like you're being invited to kind of ponder on some things, like pondering on like what is self-care for you, like what is something that you can do that is nurturing for you, because self-care, I feel like self-care is something that like the personal wellness industry, like the coaching industry, even like just like the general media have kind of popularized self-care as like being bubble baths or like getting massages or like treat yourself, right? Like self-care is like buying yourself expensive shoes. And like that I don't feel like that's really the essence of self-care. I think that like, you know, spoiling ourselves, like an element of like spoiling ourselves with little things like that is an act of self-love. But like self-care, I feel like is really kind of figuring out if, like there was a coach that I had worked with like, gosh, like 4 or 5 years ago. And you know, when she was teaching us self-care, she said to think of ourselves as like a plant or a pet, right? Like if you're leaving instructions for how someone should take care of your pet, like what would you say? So it's like, okay, this is how you take care of a Kathy. Like a Kathy needs 8 hours of sleep or she's going to be really cranky. And then, you know, a Kathy likes a caffeinated beverage first thing in the morning. You know, and early in the morning, Kathy likes things to be quiet. A Kathy needs to definitely be fed by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, and like a Kathy likes something sweet, or like, you know, a Kathy likes having cozy blankets on the couch, you know. So it's like these things like that. And I feel like those things are self-care, right? That I feel like one of the kind of funny things that came out of the pandemic is that everybody realized that everybody else has like a comfort show or like a comfort movie, or it's like a movie or a TV show that like you just watch when you don't know what else to watch, or that like you just love it so much you like watch it repeatedly. And so I feel like that, you know, like that comfort show, that comfort movie, like that's self-care, right? And that like my comfort movie can be something that is not comforting to someone else, but that's how self-care works, right? Like I'm figuring out the things that I need to care for myself, right? So like some people might like, you know, maybe it's like taking care to take care of a group number 3, you have to keep chocolate milk in the refrigerator for breakfast. Like that is that's an act of destruction for a Kathy. Like, I'm lactose intolerant. Like no, is it chocolate almond milk? Sure, but like chocolate cow's milk? Oh no, that is an act of war on my stomach. So, you know, kind of like you're being encouraged to figure out like how do you care for yourself? Like right now your purpose is to figure out how to care for yourself, because you're really good at working, taking action. Like you're so good at the doing. And so like even with like some of these wands are like off the screen, off the page, right? Like we only see part of this wand and this wand, and even kind of this one. And it's like you're so good at getting all the things done. Like you have a really high level of initiative. Like you don't need people to tell you what needs to be done or when to do it. Like you're very good at like self-managing as far as like work and accomplishments and things that people see in the public. But as far as like self-care, this is a little bit of an anomaly still for you, you know? And so kind of figuring out, like learning to balance the two, but also figuring out like, why is this so easy for me? Like what makes this so easy for me and what makes this so hard? And you know, sometimes like the things that are easy for us are just the things that we've been doing longer, right? That we just like works easier because I've been working a lot longer than I've been aware that I needed to perform self-care, or that I needed to be cared for differently than like the way that I was raised as a kid, you know? And so I feel like this kind of pondering of how to care for yourself is really just going to be, Ben agrees, is really just going to be giving yourself like the time and space to kind of understand like what you like and what you don't like, in kind of in the scheme of like everyday things. And I feel like this is kind of like, for some reason, like eating is coming to mind, where like you might not like to, I don't know, maybe like you don't like to eat breakfast, right? Where it's like a lot of articles and like kind of pop media things are like, oh, you should eat your biggest meal of the day for breakfast, or like your brain works better when you have breakfast, and like maybe you've been trying to have breakfast and you just don't really like it. Like maybe you're not hungry, or like you just don't like breakfast food. It's not your preference, right? And so it's like, okay, well, they said that I'm supposed to eat breakfast because my brain needs it, but like I'm actually not hungry until like 12. So maybe you just don't eat breakfast then. Like maybe you just start to like listen to your body and kind of listen to what your body wants. Also like the same thing with like sleep. Like there's so many things like sleep, exercise, nutrition, like a lot of health things that like people talk about where it's like, oh, well, you need to do this and like you need to do that. I feel like fitness is like one of the easiest ones where it's like if you are listening to like other people sharing fitness stuff and they're saying this is what works for everybody and it doesn't work for you, like that's really frustrating. But if you like look at other people's fitness content as like what works for them, then it's like, okay, do I want to try this? Am I even trying to reach the same goal that they're trying to reach, right? Like, because if you're exercising because you just want to get some movement because you know you sleep better if you like take a 30-minute walk a couple times a week, but all the fitness stuff that the world tells you is that you have to be like a size 2, then like the things you're going to do to be a size 2 do not match the goal of like getting movement in your life to sleep better, right? Like being skinny isn't going to help you sleep better. So it's like, I guess I'm saying all this to say that like there's so much information that is like given to us unsolicited that doesn't, it's not crafted for us. Like there's no consideration of how it works for other people. It's not even always like great advice. And then we are not kind of socialized, culturalized to like question whether like whether that advice even like meets our goal, or, and I feel like this is a big way that like marketing and advertising work, where it's like marketing and advertising are like, you need this thing and you have to have it and it's about to sell out, and it's like you get caught up in this energy of like, oh my gosh, I need that mascara because it's gonna sell. I don't even wear mascara. Like what is happening? Like why am I caught up in all this energy? And it's like, it's scarcity, you know. And like marketing and advertising, like it's hugely like psychological. And so if you tell people that something is rare and limited, then they believe that they need to get it, because if they have something not everybody has, then they're more important than everybody else, and then they can feel better about themselves, you know. But it's like really the root of it is like, do you need to feel better about yourself, or like do you like yourself enough? Okay, well then you don't need to buy a $10,000 handbag. Like if you already like yourself, why are you spending $10,000 to like yourself more and be out $10,000? So I say all of that to just kind of, I guess, not explain, but emphasize like this ponder card, this ponder situation that like, you know, just kind of, my mom calls it asking yourself questions, you know. And so she talks about it a lot, like with emotions, like if she feels like irritated, then she'll ask herself like, why do I feel irritated? Or like, what irritated me? You know, instead of just like being in a bad mood and just kind of being rude to people because you're in a bad mood. So this pondering is just, you know, right now, like you're learning how to get to know yourself better, to balance out how much effort and energy you put into self-care, because you put a lot more of it into like work and like external things. So these last two cards that I have for you are the kind of encouraging messages from the universe, God, source, spirit, whatever you want to call it. And this first card is, when I'm grateful for what I have, I can feel good along the way to what I desire. Lovely. And then abundance is a state of mind. Yes. So I feel like this one really matches up with this money messages, you know, that you're kind of relearning a money mindset, and like an abundance is a big part of like the money mindset, that like kind of trusting that, like, you know, you've got this cup, you're always carrying a cup, you're always carrying some kind of something to receive abundance and good things from the universe. And trusting that, like, when you eat all that ice cream or you finish whatever that milkshake is, that, like, the universe is going to come with another scoop and just put it in there whenever you are ready to receive it. And then, you know, this, when I'm grateful for what I have, I can feel good along the way to what I desire. And I feel like this really kind of matches, like, all these wands cards have like this kind of same coloring, this like purpley orangey color, but like I feel like there's something around gratitude for the life that you have now when this person comes back for reconciliation, right? And I feel like the relationship that you've cultivated with the life that you've built for yourself is very much going to be a part of how you have interactions with this person, or if you choose to have interactions or a reconciliation with that person. That I think when they left or disappeared, you did a lot of intentional work to create the life that you wanted for yourself, and that you've got a lot of momentum around whatever it is that you're doing. And that, like, I don't know if what they're asking you for feels like having to throw away everything that you've built up, but like, you don't have to do that, right? Like, if that's the trade-off, if they're like, I don't know, maybe like you are starting a new career, right? And like, you're really invested in your career, and they're like, hey, I want you to come and move out where I live. And you're like, what? Like, no, I haven't seen you in years, and I've spent all these years building up this life and this career, and like, I'm not gonna leave that just because you decided to pop back up. Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of gratitude around like what you've created for yourself. And so if I could encourage you to like take that energy of gratitude and, you know, use that to give yourself a little extra like love and care and recognition, you know, that like that you made this, you did this, and that like you're more than capable of having whatever you want in this life. And that includes like having a really strong self-care practice where you just, you know, where you just like love and nurture and care for yourself. Sorry, I'm this back card, see-through illusion into truth. I feel like in the time that you take some time by yourself, it's going to help you get really clear about like what illusions you had about this person before. And I feel like that might kind of come up if you decide that you want to like reconnect with this person, even if it's just like one conversation or one FaceTime or something, like addressing those illusions that you had to kind of come up with the truth, to hear the truth, to learn the truth. Like, that's going to be really important. So I feel like this bat card is just kind of acknowledging that like if you need to ask questions about like the truth of what happened, I think that's important, because sometimes we can make assumptions to fill in the gaps for what we can't see. And, you know, if this person is really serious about reconciling with you, like you deserve to have any questions that you have answered. Yeah. So group number 3, this has been your Good Things Are Coming reading. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I can't wait for you to get like super rich. I'm excited for you. And to be really rich with self-care. But yeah, this has been your reading. So if you enjoyed it, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. I'd also love to hear like if there's any part of the reading that you really enjoyed. And I just want to say thank you so much for letting me read cards for you, and thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.